Draw me in as I am. I hope that you will understand as I come to this table of love. I am tired, I am worn, I am broken, I am torn, so I come to this table and let your peace fill my soul, cleanse my heart and make me whole. Here at this table of love, I've come here to lay it all down. You've come to lift me up, and now we're forever bound by this bread and by this cup, here at this table of love. I was lost. I was lost, now I'm found, since we all have gathered round. Here at this table, I was blind, now I see all the ways you welcome me. Here at this table of love, I've come here to lay it all down. You've come to lift me up, and now we're forever bound by this bread and by this cup, here at this table of love, here at this table of love.
Good evening and welcome to the Disciple Seminary Foundation 60th Anniversary Celebration. I hope that you and your family and friends will enjoy your dinner wherever you're located, but that you'll also be excited about this evening's program, about the ministry of DSF over these 60 years and plans for the future. Enjoy your meal, our fellowship together, and remember that DSF is still doing the sound ministry that we have for these 60 years. Belva Brown Jordan, our interim president, will also bring you greetings. Thank you for being with us this evening, and enjoy your meal.
Thank you, Marilyn, for welcoming us into this blessed space. I am Belva Brown Jordan, and I serve as the interim president of Disciple Seminary Foundation. And tonight, we are celebrating 60 years of education, ministry, and service. Thank you all for tuning in for this celebratory dinner. In covenant with the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in the United States and Canada, DSF has been about the business of engaging in education with ecumenical partners for the past 60 years. Our mission has been primarily to serve God and be faithful to the preparation of leaders in our church and beyond. Every year, like clockwork, Disciple Seminary Foundation scholars graduate from one of our 5 partner schools, which include Claremont School of Theology at Willamette University, Pacific School of Religion in Northern California, the Graduate Theological Union, Seattle University School of Theology and Ministry, San Francisco Theological Seminary, and Iliff School of Theology. And like clockwork, every year there are students who graduate and they go out into the world to become pastors and chaplains, community organizers, advocates, activists, professors, doctoral students, and many, many, many other things. We are, this evening, we have a great line-up of friends who are going to join us by sharing some pre-recorded messages for us this evening. And then as the evening progresses, we'll have comments from those of you who have tuned in. If you're on Facebook, go to the DSF Facebook page or to YouTube, and you can place your comments in the chat. And we really encourage you to do that, because at some point this evening, we're going to be reading some of those comments so that others can hear your words of congratulations or say something about what DSF means to you. In addition to our pre-recorded messages and the live chat, we will have a pitch for Disciple Seminary Foundation and the 60th Anniversary Fund, in which we're trying to raise some money, some dollars in which we will use for special programming at Disciple Seminary Foundation. In addition to that, we will have communion service and a time of special announcement and more music. We are just here to celebrate all that Disciple Seminary Foundation has meant to many of us over the last 60 years. But I'm not here by myself. This evening I am gathered at this table with friends like Reverend Sam Ramirez. Sam, will you introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, I'm Sam Ramirez. I am a pastor of First Christian Church of Sun Valley, Iglesia de Sun Valley in the San Fernando Valley, and graduate from Claremont School of Theology and student from CMS as well. I'm also moderator of the board of the Obra Hispana, and I'm just so excited to be here with everybody that's watching online, as well as colleagues and friends here, and just students that are also watching us. So I'm just very grateful and honored to be here with you, and I'm glad you guys tuned in as well. And also with us is also Reverend Sadie. Reverend Sadie is with us as well, so we're just so grateful to be in her space and with her at her table as well.
Hi, my name is Reverend Sadie Columber, and I am privileged to serve as the pastor of Harbor Christian Church. And I also am a graduate of Disciple Seminary Foundation. And so it is truly an honor and a just absolute dream that we are hosting this year's virtual 60th anniversary dinner for Disciple Seminary Foundation. Of course, we wish we could have invited all of you here in person, but we figured we'd try to do our best to make it feel like we were joining you in your home. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much to all of you who have given so generously through the years to Disciple Seminary Foundation. You are making seminary possible for so many people just like me who could not have afforded it without your generosity. So thank you so much for inviting us into your home tonight, and for just the privilege of having you in our church. We are so grateful. And I'm going to pass it off to Reverend Ben Boren.
Good evening, everyone. As the others have stated, we are thrilled that you have joined us this evening. 60 years old, Disciple Seminary Foundation. I arrived in Southern California to be the minister at Orange First Christian Church in 1978. And I immediately could see the impact of DSF on this region and on other regions as I met students and watched them graduate and go out to do and lead amazing ministries. So we'll say more about that along the way. I also am a member of the executive committee of the Disciple Seminary Foundation Board. And so I would love for us to have a little conversation with each other. What more would people like to say about DSF in your life?
I'd like to begin by picking up on Sam mentioning CMS. In addition to our theological partner schools, Disciple Seminary Foundation for a very long time has been about educating lay people, theological education for lay people. One program, the Certificate Ministry Studies program, and recently we added the Diploma Ministry Studies program. And it just so happens that we're in a season of our lives where both of those programs are presented in Spanish. And so we have instructors, PhD instructors who speak Spanish, and so they help to give instructions. Most of our sites are here in Southern California, but we just graduated a cohort of 27 people in the Oregon, Southwest Idaho region. So just as Disciple Seminary Foundation supports students who are in seminary with some financial and other ways, we also provide support for lay people who are interested in just expanding their theological knowledge so that they too can be in service in our churches.
Can I just say that one of the things that I remember the most about Disciple Seminary Foundation when I was a student at what used to be right across the street from Disciple Seminary Foundation at Claremont, I loved just being able to go across the street and meet with my colleagues, my friends, with all of the good people who work at Disciple Seminary Foundation. And one of my favorite memories is a program that we started actually when I was in seminary called At the Table. And this was an opportunity for us to gather, I think it was on Tuesday nights, where we'd all just gather around a table, pray for one another, hold each other up, share the good, the bad, and the ugly of what was going on in our lives of ministry and also at seminary and in our personal lives. And I want to just say that DSF is more than just a group that provides money for students. It's actually a space that holds students during their time. And after leaving DSF, I have not stopped receiving support from DSF. I have been able to participate over and over again in learning experiences and events. And additionally, I'm so honored to now serve on the board. And so that to me is one of the most special things about Disciple Seminary Foundation, is that it's about making leaders. It's about taking students in seminary all the way through seminary and then finding out how can they be purposed for work in the wider church. So I just wanted to make sure that I said something about how grateful I am as a student for those candid moments, those quiet times with other students, with Professor Bynum, with you, Belva, and with many other speakers that came and just supported us during that time. It meant so much to me. I don't know if you had that experience too, Sam.
Yeah, I actually am very grateful for DSF and the programs that started. You know, one of the things that I've enjoyed about DSF is the fact that DSF is not a building. DSF is the people they build. And DSF is in Hispanic congregations all over Southern California, San Diego, Tijuana, Gardena, San Fernando Valley, Colorado. DSF is present. And I think that the CMS program for me was a foundational program because it helped me really it was my start. That's where I started. I graduated from CMS program with the best professors that really prepared me to go into my studies at Claremont Theological Seminary. With that foundation, I was able to tackle Claremont Theological Seminary, and it made it a lot easier. But I've always said that DSF, the staff doesn't, they may not have the roles of pastors, but they really are pastoring.
Yes.
They are pastoring so many people. I know so many times I went to Belva's office, and it was just like, hey, Belva, I don't know how to do this. And she says, well, you need to get it done, right? Like, it was just that. The people have been amazing, but DSF is represented in the life of our region. And it is through programs like CMS, it is the support for students that make Disciple Seminary Foundation so meaningful to a lot of people. So I did have that experience, and I continue having that experience when I visit Hispanic churches. A lot of students are part of the CMS program, and that's something that DSF supports greatly, and we're just very grateful for that. So I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I feel that as well.
You know, I want to do a little bit of a testimony I graduated from seminary in 1901. Well, it wasn't quite then, but I graduated from seminary in 1968, and I was well prepared to do ministry in that day and for many years forward. But the thing that I see today with DSF and the way it is supporting students to do ministry in today's world. And that is such a different seminary education and experience and preparation than it was for those of us who, well, graduated a while ago. So I want to say how grateful I am that DSF is supporting students for ministry in the 21st century. There is so much more that a seminarian needs to know today than I needed to know then. And thank God DSF is helping them to get that education.
Amen.
Yeah, thank you, Ben, for sharing that, and Sadie and Sam for your words of encouragement. And as you know, as disciples, we are people of the table. And so I just want to say to you, I mentioned that we're having communion later in our broadcast. So I'd like for you to make sure that you leave a little something at your table to that represents the bread and the cup for you, so that when we get to that point in our time for communion, that we'll share communion together. It doesn't matter if it's virtually, but that we are all partaking of the bread and the cup together a little later in our time this evening.
And then just a reminder, if there are students, alumni, any board members watching, we would really love to read your comments later. I'd especially love to hear from some alumni or from some current students of DSF about the ways that DSF is supporting you currently in your seminary time and in your ministry. So don't forget to be really putting your comments into the chat. And now we're going to be turning to some pre-recorded messages from a variety of alumni and that are going to just share with you a little bit about what they're doing in their ministries. Again, everyone you're about to listen to right now is a graduate of Disciple Seminary Foundation, to just give you an idea of the diverse work that Disciple Seminary Foundation has been doing and is planning to do for the next 60 years.
I am Rita Nakashima Brock. I am a 1988 graduate of the Claremont Graduate University. For most of my life, I've been in the academic world as a professor, and then as an administrator. I also have spent time as a professional editor. But the last job of my life is at Volunteers of America, a large nonprofit here in Alexandria, Virginia, where I direct the Shea Moral Injury Center. Moral injury is a concept I discovered about 10 years ago in my anti-war work, actually, as an activist. But it is a significant shift in mental health, in understanding that people can have their character destroyed by a life experience that is so devastating that their soul is broken. And it's not about PTSD or fear or anything like that. It's about your moral conscience being unmoored from your values because you did something, witnessed something, failed to stop something, or had something done to you that was of great harm. And my father that I grew up with was a combat veteran. His first assignment was Normandy in World War II. His last was Vietnam. And when he came home, we were estranged because he was so changed I didn't want to be around him. And he died 8 years later without a resolution to the break in our relationship. So my work on moral injury is very personal for me because it helped explain my father and closed a circle in my life in relationship to the father who raised me, and changed my memory and relationship to him now, many years later, because I now understand what he was going through and how much he was suffering at the time that he was so cold and angry and distant. So I do this work for Volunteers of America, not just for military veterans, but right now during COVID, we've got some online programs for frontline caregivers to help them cope with the same kind of devastating experiences in battling a global pandemic. And the work has been so satisfying that I will do it as long as I'm able. It's the last job of my life and an important way that circle has been closed in my life. And without the education I got with the support of DSF and at Claremont, it's work I would never have been able to do. So I'm deeply grateful for the education I received and the lifelong friendships and colleagues I've had because of my education.
Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. Olivia Bryan Updegrove. I got my doctorate of ministry from Claremont in 2012, and I love being a part of the Disciple Seminary Foundation. One of the things that I currently do in my ministry is I serve as a part-time pastor for a small church in northern Kentucky, but I also serve part-time for Disciples Home Mission as the minister for ministries across generations. Therefore, in many ways, I am your research assistant to help you with resources and ways to really engage with youth and young adults and just all ages of people in relationship with one another across the church. So if you ever need anything, I am here to serve you. But let me tell you the real reason I agreed to this video. While I am passionate and I love my ministry, it is the fact that the Disciple Seminary Foundation, when we gather together and when you look around, it is the coolest group of people you can possibly find. And I am always amazed that I even get to enter into this room that totally looks like the kingdom of God to me. And it has the most amazing people that I am constantly awed by. I just wanted to make a video because if Sadie, who's super cool, is making a video, and Ben, who is just amazing, is making a video, and Belva might actually hear this video, and I then think of all my other friends and the relationships, and Rita Nakashima Brock. It's just crazy. The amazing, voices and Marianne Parrott and the history and the love and the support. So I just made the video to point out how cool it is for all of us to be in conversation, how empowering it is in this strange time to know that there are others who are engaging in quality ways of making the church and knowing Jesus a reality for this world and this time and this place. So thank you and happy celebration.
Greetings from Indianapolis. Hi, my name is Paul Che, and I am a DSF alumni. Currently, I'm serving as the president of the Christian Unity and Interfaith Ministry of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ. I've been working in this position for a little over 5 years now. It is my honor and privilege to be part of the 60th anniversary of the Disciples Seminary Foundation. 18 years ago, I started my journey as a seminarian at the DSF. It was a Reverend Young-Soo Kim who worked at the DSF came to pick me up at the Los Angeles airport as I arrived from Korea. The very next day, even though it was a Saturday, Marianne Parrott, then president of the DSF, came to my place and welcomed me to the community by herself. Next day, Rob Parrott, then dean of the DSF, showed up at my doorstep and gave me a ride to the church service. I was in a foreign land for the first time in my entire life, yet I was immediately connected to this wonderful community of learning and serving because of them. Now, as I work as the ecumenical officer for the church, I always go back to my experience in Southern California whenever there is a challenge as I collaborate with my colleagues from other churches. That experience gives me a strength to embrace my colleagues as my family members. As a disciple of Christ and an ecumenist, I am saddened by the fact that still we cannot gather together with all Christians as children of God at the Lord's table. However, I wouldn't give up until we completely manifest God-given unity at the table. I will continue to extend the invitation to the table on behalf of the church, and I will challenge other Christians to do the same. It has not been an easy journey, but as the DSF has embraced me and so many other seminarians as we are, and has shown how loving and welcoming a disciple community can be, I will follow the footsteps of the Disciples Seminary Foundation. Congratulations, DSF, on this 60th anniversary. Keep up the good work, and may God continue to bless the ministry of the DSF.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, good evening, at whatever time that you're seeing this. I wanted to say hello. My name is Malia Galindo. I am a third-year student now at Claremont School of Theology, working on my master's in divinity. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Hawaii. My dad is also a Disciples and UCC pastor, which is what I am also aiming to be. My dad in particular has been a huge inspiration in my life. Once I accepted my call to ministry, which I'm sure many of you have also experienced, took a while. My dad is actually also a Chapman University and Claremont School of Theology alumni, and is a big part of why I am here now. For more immediate context for me, this is my bedroom, this is my closet. As you can see, there's a giraffe onesie back here. Don't ask questions. In terms of how school has been, it's been a challenge, to say the least, in a lot of really good ways, and also in a lot of really trying ways. It's really pushed me to not only really identify who I am and what I stand for, but also how the things that I so incredibly resonate with are not always what other people will resonate with, and learning how to be more a part of other people's story as well as sharing my own in a way that is helpful and impactful. I would say that in general, the way that I see my own ministry going is that I want to be able to walk with people through their journeys in whatever way works best for them. I want to create the space for people to have a chance to do that. And I think right now I'm still learning to do that for myself. And DSF has been such an incredible support throughout all of that, especially before COVID, having those spaces off of campus to be able to be a part of prayer groups or just, intentional spiritual places has been incredible. DSF has also been a major reason why any of this is even possible, because of the scholarships that I receive from them. And I will forever be extremely grateful for that. Other than that, this is the dinner I will be having. It is avocado toast. In a way, I see meals like this as being very communion-esque. We are all gathered at the table, and that is the most disciple thing. Peace.
God's grace and God's peace be unto you. I am Reverend Larry J. Morris III, 2019 graduate of Claremont School of Theology and Disciple Seminary Foundation. Currently, I'm a PhD student in the African American Preaching and Sacred Rhetoric program at Christian Theological Seminary. I am also the apostle of Communion Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, a new and emerging church plant in the Henderson, Nevada area, close to Las Vegas. I say all of this in support of the work and acknowledgement of the work of Disciple Seminary Foundation. It was through Disciple Seminary Foundation that I was able to make it through that degree. You hear what I'm saying? It's also because of them that this call to plant the church, this call to be a church planter, re-emerged in my life. It was at places like at the table with Disciple Seminary Foundation and seed planters where this call that I tried to ignore for so long, it faced me again. But not only was this call to plant a church, to create this new Christian community, to create space similar to DSF where people can come and to be in relationship with God, with each other, with community. It was also a place where there was support, where I did not feel like I was alone on that journey. It was also through Disciple Seminary Foundation that I met one of my colleagues who are helping with the church plant, Dr. Tony M. Bond. I also have another good friend, Reverend Anita M. Cobb, who is out here with us, as we go on this adventure of what God is doing with us. Our mission, our goal, is to cultivate disciples of Christ, to co-create community, and to collectively work towards liberation. I could not do this, we could not do this, without the support and ministry and witness of Disciple Seminary Foundation. Here's to 60 more years of service.
Hi, my name is Nettie, and I'm a DSF student at San Francisco Theological Seminary, and I'm so thankful for DSF. I want to take this time to say thank you to the leaders and mentors who have supported me and encouraged me throughout my seminary journey. I actually was surprised to find out last year in my first year of studies that I was expecting another child, and we're thankful that he is healthy. He's 5 months old now. But all that to say, DSF support and staff was incredible. I have not felt alone, not once in my journey. And so again, I'm full of gratitude for your support. And along with studying my MDiv, I'm learning how to be a spiritual director and studying in the art of spiritual direction offered here at the school. And my hope as a minister is to be able to learn how to provide a space of contemplative listening, compassionate and transformational listening for ministers and leaders and activists to be nourished and supported as they do the difficult work of bringing hope to our world and bringing justice. And so I thank you for inviting me to sit at the table, and not only to sit here, but to allow my voice to be heard.
Hi, this is Dan Paul from the Blue Theology Mission Station and the Christian Church of Pacific Grove, California, wishing Disciple Seminary Foundation a very blessed 60th anniversary celebration. I'm very grateful personally for Disciple Seminary Foundation on the ways that they helped me through seminary and on my career path in the ministry. Especially here in Pacific Grove, where several times we got to collaborate resources to offer regional church elder training here in Pacific Grove. And that was through a lot of support from Disciple Seminary Foundation. The Blue Theology Mission Station is so grateful for the interns that we have had that came from seminaries, seminarians who are being sponsored by Disciple Seminary Foundation, and the talent and the resource that they brought to helping make the Blue Theology Mission Station a successful mission center for Disciples Home Missions. So to all of you gathered, blessings, celebrate large. Disciple Seminary Foundation wishing you years and years of ministry ahead. God bless.
Hi everyone, my name is Nadia Tavera. I am a DSF student pursuing a Master of Divinity at Pacific School of Religion. 2 years ago, I moved to California from Mexico, fleeing homophobia. I remember my first regional assembly. It was the first time that I felt deeply touched by the words, "Everybody is welcome to the table." That day, God spoke to my heart, affirming my call to ministry. Currently, I am in ordination track with the Northern Nevada region and working at Eden Church in Hayward, California, in a ministry that provides food to around 300 families, most of them undocumented families. This month, we are launching the COVID Direct Response, a bilingual program to provide continuous testing, outreach, and health education to the community. Today, I want to invite you to my table, especially if you have experienced discrimination because of your sexual orientation, gender identity, color of skin, social class, or migratory status. Come and join me in spirit. Come and let the Holy Spirit fill you with grace. There is no borders at this table. Come and receive freedom and healing for your soul. Ven, la mesa está lista.
You to all of our friends who sent in those messages. We so appreciate your words and your creativity with your videos. Two more quotes. One is from Reverend Dr. Tamara Nichols Rotenberg, who is presently the president of Bethany College in Bethany, West Virginia. In 2006, she served as the dean of Disciple Seminary Foundation, and in 2009, she served as interim president. I send my heartfelt wishes to the Disciple Seminary Foundation on this your 60th anniversary. I am a product of DSF myself, and give thanks for this important ministry in the lives of many talented disciples leaders. Your commitment to leadership formation and financial support when students need it most makes a tremendous difference. Please know that all at this DSF have my genuine love and support. Happy anniversary. Thank you, Tamara. And one more quote coming from Mary Ann Parrott. Mary Ann was a part of the staff in 1973, and she served as president of DSF from 2000 to 2009. Happy anniversary, DSF. I wish I could be with those gathered in person for a necessarily scaled down but joyful celebration. Joining the Disciple Seminary Foundation staff in 1973, I had the privilege of knowing a number of the founders, like Guilford Olston and Margaret Wilkes. With their co-workers, they had a strong vision for the purpose and future of DSF that has continued through the years to center on education, ministry, and service. Sometime after the big 20th anniversary celebration, Don Reisinger and a board committee and I decided to use 2020 vision as a fundraising theme. Maybe some remember Galen and Louise Gobin and other students in a clever skit featuring an optometrist and patient trying to communicate and detect a semblance of perfect sight. We tried to share the DSF story and needs in both entertaining and thoughtful ways. DSF is a unique institution which has been somewhat difficult for me to explain. My best efforts focused on its church and ecumenical relationship, D, its educational center, S, and what DSF does for its students, be a broad supportive foundation, F. May the future of DSF continue to hold its 2020 vision steady while flexibility and change to meet new needs for education, ministry, and service. Thank you, Mary Ann. An announcement that this evening, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to make this announcement, but I do want to say thank you to the University Christian Church Legacy Foundation of Seattle, Washington. On their behalf, they are making a donation to Disciple Seminary Foundation in the name of Dr. Thomas R. McCormick. Dr. McCormick has expressed his desire that a $100,000 student scholarship fund be created at Disciple Seminary Foundation in his name. Thank you, UCC Legacy Foundation, and thank you, Dr. McCormick.
And now we're excited that so many of you have made some comments on our live stream. So many of you have made comments. We can't possibly get to all of them, but please know how much it means to all of us here and all of the family of DSF across our country, really across our world. And we're going to hear a few of those comments right now and interact with them. So listen in, and we're going to put some of those comments up on the screen.
Yes, thank you for that, Sadie. I'm going to go ahead and read these comments out loud, as not all of our guests this evening have them in front of you, but please let me encourage each of you to go look at this chat and comment section that just exploded the moment this happened. There are over 100 here, and the backs and forths of hellos, the congratulations, the connections that are being made in this comment chat are just such an expression and showing of the community that DSF has built over the past 60 years. As Pastor Sadie said, I wish I could read all of them, but we are going to go ahead and just select a few for everyone to read together. And this first one is up from our PSWR Regional Minister, Richie Sanchez, who says, shout out to our PSWR congregation, Harbor Christian Church, and in Pastor Sadie, to all of our PSWR clergy at these tables, save me some dessert.
Sorry, we're not saving you dessert, Richie. We have a beautiful cake here, and we're going to eat it all. But thank you for your comment.
All right, as Pastor Sadie requested, some of our current DSF beneficiaries to come and send in some things to explain where they are in their journey. From Renee Earl, I have received the best support from all who serve with DSF. I thank God for each person. Grateful to be an upcoming DSF alumni.
Thank you, Renee.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and then next up from San Roberts, I'm beyond grateful and thankful for the support I've received from DSF over the years. As I head toward my final year of seminary, I'm still awed by the fact that this has all actually happened. Here's to another 60 years. Blessings to all, and hi, Sadie.
Yay, thank you.
Go, your last year, go.
Best of luck in your last year.
And now to hear from a little bit of some of our actual alums who have been commenting like crazy as well. This is a little bit of a longer one. This is from Lori Tapia, who says, so proud to be part of the DSF family, to be a DSF graduate, and now so honored to be serving as a board member. DSF blessed my life and helped to forward the ministry that God has called me to. Beyond the financial support, the support and care extended to me during my journey through seminary made all the difference in the world, especially as a hybrid student at CST. The ability to be fully myself as a Latina clergy woman and all that means was never met with obstacle or question, rather was encouraged, celebrated, and embraced. Happy 60th anniversary to DSF, and thank you for all you do and all you are. I look forward to the next 60 years.
Thank you, Lori.
Hallelujah.
Can I just say that that's the power of DSF, that here's Reverend Lori Tapia, who received all this love and support from DSF, and now she is that support and love for so many others. So to me, that's really the story of Disciple Seminary Foundation.
We do just have a couple more shout outs that I wanted to be sure to pick as we have you sitting here right now. From, and I'm so sorry if I say this wrong, Zaid or Zadeh Evans. I am grateful for the love that DSF continues to show, even more so during the pandemic. A special shout out to my advisor, Belva, in appreciation for all the patience and love she shows every time we visit. Extra thanks to Jess Kim and Shoban Lopez for all the important work that goes on behind the scenes to keep DSF and the students you support flourishing. Thank you all, much love.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. And then just to give some love for some of our viewers here who are coming from out of state, I have Robert here who is saying a hello and greetings from sojourners in Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow. Hi, Robert from Sojourners. I love your magazine.
And another shout out from Joan Bell Haynes. Happy 60th anniversary DSF from Denver, Colorado. God prosper your ministry of equipping clergy and lady for 60 plus years, Reverend Joan Bell Haynes.
Thank you. My twin.
And there are just so many that have come in and are still pouring in. So again, thank you all for sending in these comments and these love and all of the support for this evening. But we will have to move on or we'll be here all night. So
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and pass this back over to Reverend Denbo.
Yes.
I think we're just feeling the love flowing in
Yes, we
here.
are.
My goodness. And I hope all of you who are watching are feeling that love as well. If you were able to read all the comments, there were over 100 people who were posting, and that's amazing. We're thrilled. We're thrilled. Now, I do have to tell you that Belva at the beginning warned you that there might be a slight nudge, request, beg, plead, threaten, cajole you to think about the 60th anniversary fund. So yes, 60th anniversary with a goal of raising $60,000. And I do want to say how grateful we are to 160 people who have already made a donation, a pledge to this 60th anniversary fund. And as of today, we have received in pledges and gifts $40,422.
Yay.
So we are thrilled to be 2/3 of the way there. I do want you to know 100% of the board has made a gift and pledge, and we're so grateful to all of you who have been donors. The gifts of DSF for 40 years represent over 1,000 students. Just think about that and the impact on our denomination. Over 1,000 students, and they have received over $5 million in scholarship support. And we cannot even put an amount on the spiritual guidance, mentoring, and support that they have received as well. So I know you're envious because you wish you could be sitting here making this pitch to you to make a donation, but sorry, it gets to be me, and I have to say I'm thrilled that I'm able to do this because I know the difference that this $60,000 will make in the future for our support of students. So I know there are people there listening right now who could probably give $60. Do it. There might even be some people who could give $600. Do it. Do you want me to keep going up? I'll make it easy on you. So if you're a student today, if you're a recent graduate, if you're an individual without a lot of resources, I want you to believe that you can be a major part of this 60th anniversary fund. And here's how easy it is. What if you were to give $6 a month for 3 years? That's only $6 a month. I spend that every time I go to Starbucks. Sorry, I confess. $6 a month for 3 years. If 100 people would do that, that would total $21,600. We're there. We've just reached our goal. So whatever you feel like you are able to give, please go. You can see on the screen where to go, or you can go to dsf.edu, and up in the right-hand corner, it says 6460. Click on that button, and you'll be able to make your pledge. I want to invite you to do that, and I want to thank you for the marvelous support you have already given over the years and the support that will lead us forward into another 60 years. God bless you.
Amen. And now we're going to turn to our time of communion because we are disciples, and disciples can't gather without doing communion together. And I don't know about all of you, but our pandemic time has really changed communion for our communities. We're gathering on Zoom. We are sharing the Lord's Supper in our own homes spread across our counties. Some of our churches have had people joining us from out of state and out of country. And so in some of these changes that have been really painful for all of us as the people of God to have to adjust to how we form our table when we can't gather in our common places, it's been difficult. And yet there has been some beautiful things that have happened as a result of changes that we can do nothing about. And so that's what I want us to think about today as we turn our hearts toward communion, is we live in a world that's constantly changing. Jesus lived through massive change in his day and age, and I imagine when he gathered at the table with his disciples, they weren't always just joyful times. There were probably real struggles and challenges. We started our time together this evening with the song, Table of Love. And I want to remind us that the opposite of love is fear. And so when we gather in love, there's going to be fear here as well. And one of the things I appreciate so much about Disciple Seminary Foundation is the way that it has helped so many students through the generations navigate the fears, the uncertainties, and the challenges of life and seminary. And that's what we're called to do as Christians, to face the challenges with love and not to hold our hearts of fear. So while our world is changing fast, DSF is changing with it. We know that we can't provide the same things to a new generation of students that were provided to Ben's generation. And yet, DSF isn't saying we're going to hang up the towel and do nothing. Instead, they're iterating. They're moving into this new generation, this next 60 years, knowing that the times are uncertain, and yet what is certain is that we are served by a Lord who's here with us at this table. His name is Jesus, and he gathered with his disciples so long ago, taking the bread, and I invite you to take your bread right now at home. He took that bread, and he broke it, and he said, "This is my body, which is broken for each one of you." And every time you gather together, and I imagine even in the strange ways that we're gathering in the world today, every time we gather, Christ is with us. And then he took the cup, and he blessed it, saying, "This is the cup of the new covenant, poured out for the forgiveness of sin, poured out for a new way. And every time you eat this bread, every time you drink from this cup, remember me." And I want to hear Jesus also saying, "Remember me as I pull you into the next 60 years." So I give thanks for the last 60 years of DSF's ministry to seminarians and to the church. And I also give thanks for the next 60 years. And I wonder if you might join me in a word of prayer as we bless our communion meal together. God, today we give thanks for history, for all that has brought us to this moment. We give thanks for the saints on whose shoulders we stand. We give thanks for the lessons they've taught us, for all they have forged through their time to show us. God, we accept this next 60 years as our call to continue to iterate, to continue to move your people and your way into a new generation. We give thanks for history in this present moment as we look forward to a beautiful and exciting future. We give thanks for these things as we remember the prayer that your Son Jesus taught us so long ago, saying, "Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever and ever. Amen. Thank you so much. We're going to now turn to a pre-recorded video by Reverend Nancy Cordova Molina. She is going to be sharing a song called "Counting Every Blessing." I think that's an appropriate song for us to end our meal time. But before we turn to the video, I want to let you know that we have a few special recorded messages that we're going to share after this video. So please don't hang up now. Hold on. We're going to listen to a powerful and beautiful song, and then you're going to hear some other wonderful messages from some really special disciples that can't wait to talk to you.
Congrats, DSF, on your 60th anniversary. My name is Nancy Cordova Molina, and I'm going to share Counting All My Blessings. I was blind, now I'm seeing in color. I was dead, now I'm living forever. I had failed, but you were my redeemer. I've been blessed beyond all measure. I was lost, now I'm found by my Father. I've been changed from a ruin into treasure. I've been given a hope and a future. I've been blessed beyond all measure. I am counting every blessing, letting go and trusting when I cannot see. I am counting every blessing, surely every season you are good to me. You were there in the valley of shadows. You were there in the depth of my sorrows. You're my strength, my hope for tomorrow. I've been blessed beyond all measure. I am counting every blessing, letting go and trusting when I cannot see. I am counting every blessing, surely every season you are good to me. Surely your goodness pursues me. Surely your love is still for me. I will remember your goodness all my days, through every storm and gale. I am counting every blessing, letting go and trusting when I cannot see. I am counting every blessing, surely every season you are good to me. I am counting every blessing, letting go and trusting when I cannot see. I am counting every blessing, surely every season you are good to me. You are good to me. You are good to me.
Thank you, Nancy, for that blessing. We now have two pre-recorded messages from very dear friends of ours, and we're so glad that they have chosen to bring a word to our gathering as we close our time together. First, we will hear a message from the Reverend Dr. Rick Lowry, who serves as president of the Disciples of Christ Historical Society, followed by a word from Reverend Terry Hord Owens, our general minister and president of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in the United States and Canada.
On behalf of the Disciples of Christ Historical Society and a grateful church, I'm very happy to present this certificate of celebration and appreciation for Disciples Seminary Foundation for 60 years of supporting and providing theological and pastoral education for disciples ministry. DSF has, of course, provided crucial financial support for persons pursuing seminary education for ministry in the diverse disciples communities in the West Coast region and beyond. but it's also provided a community of conversation and pastoral support for students engaging the difficult deconstructing and reconstructing work of theological education and spiritual formation. DSF has led the way in our church's growing understanding of and commitment to diversity, showing us the importance of spreading a wide table and inviting everyone to bring a dish and share the feast. You've taught us the importance of faithful stewardship and have modeled in your practice the life-giving power of ecumenical partnership. You have been leaven in the bread of justice, a ray of hope, lighting paths of peace and reconciliation. For all the ways you have carried the liberating gospel of wholeness to a fragmented world, we add our voice to the chorus of appreciation and celebration for the work and witness of Disciples Seminary Foundation. On a personal note, my wife Sharon Watkins and I have each contributed to the 60 for 60 campaign and urge anybody who hasn't yet done so to write your check or click on the DSF website to help support this vital ministry of our church. May God grant Disciples Seminary Foundation many anniversaries to come. Blessings, y'all.
Hello, this is Terry Hord Owens, General Minister and President of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in the U.S. and Canada, and I want to extend on behalf of our whole church our heartiest congratulations and gratitude to Disciples Seminary Foundation for 60 years of supporting and innovating in theological education as we have helped to prepare and shape leaders for our church and scholars for the academy. From Don Reisinger to Belva Brown Jordan, we have had a tremendous roster of presidents and executive directors who over the years have shepherded the work of DSF, partnering with several institutions in the ecumenical space and working to ensure that disciple students across our church would find opportunities for theological education at its partner institutions. Belva Brown Jordan is the current interim president, and DSF, you are in good hands. As you know, Belva currently serves as the moderator of the General Assembly of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ. She has served on countless boards and committees and worked in her earliest years in ministry to support the development of young leaders across our church. When I spoke to the General Board in February of 2020, before the pandemic put us all into quarantine, I said that we had to have the courage to imagine who we would be as a new church for a new world and how we would help to shape that new world. Little did I know that 3 weeks later, we would be in quarantine and on lockdown, and a new world was literally handed to us. I also said that we had to give ourselves permission to change, the permission to try new things, the permission to let some things go. And finally, I said that we needed to walk in a freedom from fear, the fear of what happens when we change, the fear of what happens when we let things go, the fear of what happens when people criticize or even disagree. And as we move boldly into this new world that we are now inhabiting, it will be even more important that institutions like DSF have the courage to imagine and continue to innovate to ensure that our students are prepared to be the leaders that the church needs, that scholars are prepared to teach in institutions of theological education in order to ensure that the Church of Jesus Christ, the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in particular, remains a relevant institution of service and mission, bearing witness to the gospel of Jesus Christ. We are a movement for wholeness in a fragmented world, and never before has that courageous and prophetic imagination been more important to our movement. So thank you, DSF. Thank you for continuing to shape our leadership, for continuing to partner with our whole church to see that the work of the church continues with the best and brightest. May God continue to bless and keep you and give you vision and courageous and prophetic imagination so that we can be the church we need to be for this new world. God bless you and happy anniversary.
Thank you, Rick, and thank you, Terry, for those wonderful, encouraging words. Also want to say a word of thanks to Pastor Sadie and to Harbor Christian Church. There's so many people behind the scenes who have made this happen. Justin, Lauren, Tyler, Jess, Jenny, Shobi. We see you. We know who you are. We know that we would not have been able to do this without all of your hard work. And now a blessing as we go forward. Some of you know that one of my favorite poets is John O'Donohue, and he always talks about, in his writing, blessing the space between us. That's blessing each inch, each parts of the spaces between us. And so I invite us to leave this place with a heart and a mind for blessing each other and for all of the space between me and between you. We have been blessed by God with the gift of the Son, Jesus the Christ. And so we ask God's blessing to continue to be with us for those of us who have tuned in and gathered this evening, for those who were not able to join us. We ask your blessing, O God, for another 60 years of ministry, of education, and of service. Blessings to you all, and thank you again for joining us this evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Thanks for joining us.